Before starting, I just wanted to say, if you are new here, my name is Advait. I'm 21 years old. I make shorts and reels, and I recently started this long format on YouTube on my YouTube channel to document the whole process of building something from scratch. This is the last episode of the Goa series, and I'll be honest with you, this is the one I've been most excited to make. Not because it has the best visuals or the most interesting destinations. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. There are no destinations in this one at all. But because out of everything I've put on this channel so far, this episode is the closest to why I actually started it. If you haven't watched episodes 1 and 2 yet, go watch those first. This one lands differently if you know how we got here. For everyone who has, you already know what happened on the outside. The scooters, the fort, the beaches, the club that disappointed us, the 11 churches, the market sunset. You have seen all of it. This episode is about what happened on the inside. And I want to start by telling you something that might sound strange. The moment I came back to Mumbai, the moment I walked back into this room, sat down, looked around at my same four walls, I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel that post trip emptiness that everyone talks about. I didn't feel deflated or lost or like something had been taken away. I felt the complete opposite. I felt clarity immediately. Like someone had cleaned the window I had been looking through my whole life, and I could suddenly see through it properly for the first time. Everything I want to do, the channel, the content, what I'm building, where I want to go, it all became sharper, more real, more urgent. Like Goa didn't slow me down or give me peace in the way people talk about travel giving you peace. It woke something up in me. And I've been sitting with that feeling ever since, trying to understand it, trying to put words to what 5 days in a place I'd never been before actually did to me. And that's what this video is. No destinations, no food content, no itinerary, just me in this room trying to be as honest as I can about what changed and why I think it matters, not just for me, but for anyone watching this who's been living inside their own version of the same four walls. Four things I want to talk about today, and those things are the circle, money, time, and what I want to do next. So, let's get into it. Topic 1. And this one is the thing I've been thinking about the most since coming back. Imagine you are on a beach and someone draws a small circle in the sand around you. And that circle, that small patch of ground, becomes your whole world. Your city, your routine, your familiar streets and familiar faces and familiar problems. Everything you know exists inside that circle. And here's the thing about that circle. Most people live inside it their entire lives. They are born inside it, they grow up inside it, they build careers inside it, they grow old inside it, and they die inside it, thinking that the circle was the whole world. Not because they are not smart, not because they don't dream, but because nobody ever showed them what was outside it. And after a while, the circle stops feeling like a circle. It just feels like life. Now here's what's different about my situation, and maybe yours too. I knew the circle existed. I could see the edges of it. I knew there was something outside it. I'd seen it in videos, in photos, in other people's stories. I wasn't blind to it. I just never had a real opportunity to step outside it. And I think that's actually harder than not knowing. Because when you can see the edges of your circle, when you know there's a whole world outside it, and you're still inside it anyway, that creates this low level restlessness that never fully goes away. This quiet feeling of I am missing something. I don't know exactly what, but something. I felt that for a long time, years probably. That quiet restlessness of knowing the circle exists and not being able to get out of it. And then came Goa. And I want to be clear, Goa didn't fix everything. It didn't solve my life. It didn't answer all the questions I have about what I'm doing and where I'm going. But it did one specific thing that nothing else had done before. It showed me that outside the circle is real, not theoretical, not something I saw in someone else's video, real. Something I physically stood inside and breathed in and felt with my own hands and feet. Sitting on Agonda beach after 2 hours in the water, exhausted, salty, sun-dried, watching the sun go down over the Arabian Sea, I had this thought. And it wasn't a big dramatic thought. It was actually pretty simple. The world is so much bigger than I have been living. That's it. That was the whole thought. Not deep, not philosophical, just I have been living inside a very small circle, and the world outside is enormous, and I have barely seen any of it. And something about physically being there, not watching it on a screen, not seeing it in a photo, actually being there, made that thought feel different from every time I had a version of it before. It felt true in a way it never had before. Like my body understood it, not just my head. And that understanding didn't leave when I came back to Mumbai. I walked back into my room, my same four walls, my same routine, and for the first time, I could actually see the circle. Not just know it exists, actually see it clearly, like someone had drawn the edges in bright light. And seeing it clearly changed something, because once you can actually see your circle, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, staying inside it becomes a choice. And I don't want to make that choice anymore. Now, here's why I'm telling you all of this. Because I think a lot of you watching this are exactly where I was before Goa. You can see the edges of your circle. You know the world outside it is real. You've seen it in other people's videos and photos and stories, but you haven't stepped outside it yet. Not because you don't want to, but because the opportunity hasn't come, or the money isn't there, or the timing isn't right, or life keeps getting in the way. And I get that. I really do. Because that was me for years. But here's what I want this channel to be. Beyond the vlogs, beyond the topics, beyond whatever video I'm making in any given week, I want this channel to be a window outside your circle. For whoever is sitting inside the circle right now, same city, same routine, same four walls, and can see the edges but can't get out yet, I want you to get out through me, through this screen, through these videos, not as a substitute for going yourself, but as proof that outside the circle is real, that it's worth it, that it's possible even when it seems like it isn't. Because that proof, that's what I needed before Goa. Not tips, not itineraries, not travel guides, just proof that someone who looked like me and started from where I started could actually get there. This channel is that proof. That's what I'm building here. Okay, topic 2. And this one is about money. Not in a financial advice way, not tips on saving or investing or any of that. Just what this trip changed in how I think about earning and spending and what money is actually for. So let me start with how I thought about money before Goa. I always knew money was important, not in a greedy way, just in a practical, real world way. The world runs on money. You need it to survive. You need it to have options. You need it to not be dependent on other people for the things you want to do. That was always clear to me. But here's what I didn't fully understand before this trip. I thought experiences were part of things. Like in my head, money goes towards things, clothes, gadgets, stuff you want, stuff you need, and somewhere inside that category of things, experiences also live. A trip is just another thing you spend money on. It goes in the same mental bucket as everything else. Goa showed me that's completely wrong. Experiences are not a subcategory of things. They are not the same bucket. They are not even in the same kind of purchase. Because when you buy a thing, you have the thing. It sits there, it depreciates, it loses meaning over time. The excitement of getting it fades within days sometimes. But when you buy an experience, you don't have something that sits there. You have something that lives inside you, something that changes how you think and what you want and who you are, something that doesn't depreciate. It actually grows over time as you understand it more deeply. I am still understanding what Goa gave me. It's been weeks and I'm still finding new thoughts that came from that trip. A thing I bought weeks ago, I've probably forgotten about it. But this trip, I will remember that for the rest of my life. And that realization completely shifted something in how I think about earning. Because here's the thing about money that I understood for the first time standing on that beach or on that Goa trip. The goal of earning money is not to accumulate things, it's to accumulate freedom. Freedom to make choices because you want to make them, not because someone else is paying for them or approving them or making them for you. Freedom to say yes to a trip in December when you have nothing because you know you will find a way to make it happen. Freedom to go somewhere you have never been, eat food you have never tried, sit on a beach or sit on a mountain you didn't know existed before and feel, I made this happen. Nobody gave this to me. I built this on my own. That feeling, I made this happen, is something no thing has ever given me. And there's something else underneath all of this that I want to say out loud because I think a lot of people feel it but don't say it. I don't want to depend on anyone, not in a cold way, not in a I don't need people way. I have 4 best friends who just spent 5 days with me on a beach and I love those guys more than I can explain. But financially, I want to stand completely on my own feet. I want to be in a position where if I want to do something, go somewhere, experience something, say yes to something, the only question I have to answer is, do I want this? Not Can I afford this? Not will someone help me with this? Not do I have to ask anyone. Just do I want to do this? Because I think there's a version of life where you spend your whole time doing things because you have to, working jobs you don't love to, pay for things you don't need, saying no to experiences because the money isn't there, living inside a circle not just because of geography but because of finances. And I don't want that version. I want to earn enough that my life fully belongs to me, fully. That every choice I make is a choice, not a compromise, not a resignation, not a this is all I can do. Goa was expensive for me. It took me 4 months to save for it. And standing on that beach, I thought I want to be able to say yes to something like this without 4 months of saving. Not because I'm lazy or impatient, but because I want the freedom to say yes immediately when life offers me something worth saying yes to. That's the version of financial success I'm working towards. Not a number in a bank account, not a car or a house or a thing. Just the freedom to say yes. And I'm sure a lot of you out there thinks the same like I do. And I want more of it, not more things, more of that feeling. So when I came back to Mumbai and sat back down at my desk and looked at everything I'm building, the channel, the content, the whole journey, the question shifted slightly. It was never just about making content I'm proud of. It was always also about building something that gives me the freedom to keep saying yes to the things that matter. A trip like Goa costs money. The next trip will cost even more money. The one after that will be even more expensive. And I want to be someone who can say yes to all of them. Not because someone handed me the money, but because I built something that made it possible. That's what earning means to me now. Not survival, not things, but freedom. And I think that's a much better reason to work hard than anything I had before Goa. Okay, topic 3. And this one, I need you to really sit with this one because I want to talk about time, but not in the way you have heard it before. Not life is short, not you're running out of time, not some motivational speech about making every moment count. Something more specific than that. Something I felt in Goa that I've been trying to put into words ever since. So let me ask you something first. Have you ever had a week that felt like it lasted a month? Where so many things happened, so many new things were felt and seen and experienced that by the end of it, you couldn't believe it had only been 7 days. And have you ever had a month that felt like it lasted a week, where you were so deep inside your routine, same alarm, same commute, same task, same bed, that 30 days went by and you looked back and thought, what actually happened? Where did that time go? I think most of us have had both of those experiences. But here's what I want to ask. Which one felt like more time? Which one felt like you actually lived more? The week that felt like a month, obviously. 5 days in Goa felt longer than entire months of my life in Mumbai. 5 days. And I can tell you exactly what happened on each one of them. I can tell you what I ate, what I saw, what I felt, what conversations I had, what thoughts I had. Every detail is sharp and present and real. But ask me what happened in a random week in February sitting in this room, I genuinely couldn't tell you. It happened, I was there, but it left no mark. And that's what the circle does to time. Inside the circle, time moves fast, not because good things are happening, but because nothing new is happening. And when nothing new is happening, your brain stops recording. It goes on autopilot, and autopilot burns through days and weeks and months without leaving anything behind. You look up one day and it's been 6 months or even years, and you think, where did all of that time go? And the honest answer is nowhere. It didn't go anywhere meaningful, it just passed. That's not living, that's surviving inside a loop. But when you step outside the circle, when you put yourself somewhere new, with new roads and new air and new people and new feelings, your brain wakes up. It has to, because everything is unfamiliar and unfamiliar things demand attention. And when your brain is paying attention, it records. Every moment gets stored, every detail gets remembered. Time slows down not because the clock changes, but because you are actually present inside it. And I think that's what time actually is. Not a countdown, not something you're running out of. Time is the collection of moments your brain decides were worth remembering. And the size of your life, the actual felt size of your life when you look back at it, is determined not by how many years you lived, but by how many of those moments you collected. A person who lived to 80 inside the same circle their whole life might have a smaller felt life than someone who lived to 60 and spent those years stepping outside the circle as often as they could. Because one of them has a collection of moments that stretches as far as they can see, and the other one just has a loop. Now, here's what this connects to something I talked about in a previous video: the feeling of being behind, of having started late, of looking at people your age who are 3 steps ahead of you and wondering why you're not further along. I felt that. I still feel it sometimes. but Goa gave me a different way of thinking about it. The reason that feeling of being behind is so loud inside the circle is because inside the circle, time feels scarce. Like there's not enough of it. Like every day you're not moving fast enough is a day wasted. Like the clock is always running and you're always slightly too slow. But that feeling, that scarcity of time, is a circle feeling, not a reality. The reality is that you have more time than you think. Not because life is long, it isn't always, but because time expands when you fill it with things worth remembering. When you step outside that circle and collect moments instead of just surviving inside a loop, time stops feeling scarce. It starts feeling like something you're building with, something you're investing in, something that's working for you instead of against you. 5 days in Goa gave me more felt time than months of routine. Imagine what a life built around collecting moments, real ones, outside the circle, in new places with new feelings. Imagine how long that life would feel. Imagine looking back at 60 or 70 or even at 80 and having a collection that stretches as far as you want to see. That's what I want. Not a long life, but a full one. And I think those are very different things. Okay, last topic. And this one is the simplest one, but also the most important one. Because after everything I just told you, the circle, the money, the time, the natural question is, okay, so what now? What do you actually do with all of this? How does understanding something change anything? And I want to answer that honestly, because I think there's a version of this video where I sit here and I tell you I have a 5 year plan, a roadmap, a clear picture of exactly where I'm going and exactly how I'm going to get there. And it sounds good, it sounds like I have it all figured out, but that would be a lie. I don't have a 5 year plan. I am just 21 years old. I came back from a 5 day trip few weeks ago and I'm still processing what it did to me. I don't have a roadmap. What I have is a direction. And I think that's actually more honest and more useful than a plan. Because plans change, plans fall apart, plans depend on conditions staying the same, and conditions never stay the same. But a direction, a clear sense of which way you're pointing and why, that survives everything. That holds even when the specific plan doesn't work out. So let me tell you my direction. I want to keep building this channel, not because I have a subscriber goal or a revenue target or a milestone I'm chasing, but because this channel is the most honest thing I have ever made. And I want to keep making honest things. I want to travel more. Goa was the first, and it didn't satisfy the urge. It made it worse in the best possible way. There are places I want to go, things I want to see, feelings I want to collect. I don't know exactly when or exactly where, but I know it's coming, and I know I'm going to document every bit of it. I want to earn more, not for things, but for freedom, for the ability to say yes immediately when life offers me something worth saying yes to. For the feeling of standing somewhere new and thinking, I made this happen, nobody handed this to me. And I want to keep breaking open the circle. Mine first, and then through this channel, yours too. Because here's what I believe now that I didn't fully believe before Goa. The life you want is not waiting for the right moment. It's not waiting for enough money or enough time or enough confidence or enough of whatever you think you're currently not enough of. And I think about that a lot. I think about the version of me that existed in December, sitting in a room in Mumbai, knowing the circle existed, feeling the edges of it, wanting something more but not knowing how to reach it. That version of me had no idea what was coming. He had no idea that 4 months later, he'd be standing on a beach he had never heard of, in water he had never touched, watching a sunset that would quietly break something open inside him that he didn't even know was closed. He had no idea that a 5 day trip with four of his closest friends would change how he thinks about money, about time, about what life is actually supposed to feel like. He had no idea that he'd come back to the same room, the same four walls, the same city, and somehow see all of it differently. And the only thing that separated that version of me from this one was a single moment of saying yes. That's it. Not a plan, not a perfect setup, not the right time or the money or the right circumstances. Just yes. And I keep thinking about how close I came to saying no, how easy it would have been to say not now, not yet, maybe next year, maybe when things are more stable, maybe when I have more saved up. How easy it would have been to stay inside the circle one more time. And I would have missed all of it. Not just the beaches and the forts and the food, I would have missed the version of myself that came back from that trip. And that's the thing about the circle that nobody tells you. It doesn't just limit where you go, it limits who you become. Because every time you step outside it, every time you say yes to something that scares you or costs you or asks something of you, you come back slightly different, slightly more, slightly closer to the version of yourself you actually want to be. And every time you stay inside it, every time you say not yet, not now, maybe later, you stay exactly the same. Same thoughts, same feelings, same circle. I don't want to stay the same. I don't think you do either. And I don't know what your version of Goa looks like. Maybe it's a trip. Maybe it's starting something you've been putting off. Maybe it's saying yes to something you have been saying not yet to for longer than you can remember. But whatever it is out there, outside the circle, waiting for you to draw a line in the sand and step over it. I did it, and I will never be the same in the best possible way. Okay, that's episode 3. That's the Goa series. And I want to be honest with you about something before I close this. Making these 3 videos was one of the hardest things I've done since starting this channel. Not the editing, not the filming, not the late nights in this room cutting footage and writing scripts and staring at a timeline wondering if any of this is actually good. The hardest part was saying all of these things out loud, because there's a version of a travel series that's much easier to make. Here's where we went, here's what we ate, here's the beach, here's the sunset, beautiful visuals, good music, everyone leaves feeling nice. Nobody has to be vulnerable, nobody has to sit in their room and talk about circles and money and time and the quiet fear of staying the same forever. I could have made that version, I chose not to. And every time I sat down to record these episodes, and there was this voice, and I think every person who has ever made something personal and put it out into the world knows this voice saying, who is going to care about this? Who are you to talk about these things? What if people watch this and feel nothing? What if you said all of this out loud and it didn't matter to anyone? That voice was loud. But here's what I kept coming back. Someone made a video once that made me feel completely understood. Someone I had never met, in a room I had never seen, talking about things I had never heard anyone say out loud before. And I watched that video and thought, I'm not alone in this. And that feeling, I'm not alone in this, is the most powerful thing one human being can give to another. That's why I made these videos the way I made them. Not for views, not for subscribers, not for any number on a screen. For the one person watching this at 11 pm in their room who needed to hear that the circle is real and the world outside it is bigger than they imagined. And that someone who started with nothing in December was standing on a beach in April thinking, I made this happen. And if you are that person, this was for you. All the 3 episodes, every honest word, every uncomfortable thing said out loud, it was for you. And to everyone who has watched from video 1, who has been here since before the Goa series, since before any of this made sense, since the very beginning, when it was just me in a room with something to say and no idea if anyone would listen. Thank you. Not the YouTube thank you, the real one. The one that means you have no idea what your presence here means to me. You have no idea what it does to a person to make something vulnerable and put it out into the world and have someone actually show up for it. You showed up, and I will never forget that. The Goa series is done, but I'm just getting started. And wherever this goes, however big or small this channel becomes, these 5 videos will always be the beginning. The proof that it started honestly, that it started from a real place, that it started from me who went to Goa with nothing and came back with everything that actually matters. More is coming, better is coming, and I promise you that. I am Advait. This was the final episode, episode 3. The circle is bigger now. Let's keep going.